Hey guys, Babs with Listen to Your Inner You. Thank you for watching and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe. It just always excites me. Anyway, thank you for watching and helping me grow my channel. I do have a donation link below if you feel awesome and you want to support me in a way, that would be great. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I wanted to talk about those incidents when you're deliberately or non-deliberately actually manifesting a person, a partner, a relationship, right? I don't know if you've noticed it, but this is what I call birds before land. When you're manifesting a person, or anything really, but this is specific about a person. It's birds before land. I have a video about birds before land. I probably will make more videos too. But when you're manifesting a person, specific or non-specific, right? So a specific person relationship or just a relationship, then you tend to often get birds before land. And those are people that often have some or a lot or almost all of the qualities you're looking for in that relationship or in that person. Don't we all have some kind of list, either in our head or written down? I may have a really long list of my perfect person written down. And you know what? I have actually manifested multiple people with pretty much all of the specifics or all of the specifics and more, because the universe does tend to deliver better than we even asked for. That's why patience is a great thing to have, and a lot of us don't have it, and that's okay. And actually, if you're very impatient, you may want to start working on I am worth it, because that's where my impatience came from, and a lot of my clients' impatience came from that belief being off. Anyway, different story. So when you are manifesting a personal relationship, you tend to get people into your life, they show up, that have a lot of the qualities you're looking for in the person or the relationship. For example, I was actually at some point manifesting a general relationship, not an SP anymore, because I decided after I started working on I'm Worth It, I decided I deserve better than the two guys that I was crying after, and they both left me when it got hard in the relationship, and I think I deserve better. No, I know I deserve better. That was my point. So if they show back up, sure, I'll give it a try, because now they would be a different person because I am. But in general, I was manifesting a general relationship that felt like home, love, content, happiness. So you want to figure out what you're manifesting from that relationship if it's not a specific person, right? And if it's a specific person, I have different videos coming out about that anyway. But birds before land are people that have specific characteristics that you're looking for. But it might happen that this one person shows up and they have some of the characteristics, but then they don't look the way you would like to. I mean, a lot of us have a type and a lot of us don't. So I'm just throwing out examples, right? So don't take every word too seriously, because there's always different situations for everyone in every situation, in every manifestation, right? But these are examples I'm throwing out there. So, for example, let's say I'm manifesting my person. I want him to be at least 6'2". It used to be 6 feet. Now it's 6'2", because I'm tall. I want to have someone tall. I've dated shorter guys. I don't prefer it, but if it's the right guy, I don't care about the height as much, although it does bring out my insecurities, and that's all that tells you is when something you kind of needed, like height or not bald, like those are kind of big for me. I like hair on a guy. Those are just insecurities I have about things, and that's okay. We're allowed to have those. We're human. And it's also a preference. It could be both. It could be insecurity. It could also be both. Again, if the perfect person shows up and they're bald, sure, that's not it's not needed. I would prefer lots of hair, but I don't need lots of hair. I would prefer 6 feet to 6'2" or 4", but I don't need it, right? But those are the preferences we have. So figure out the preferences you want in a relationship and in the person, if you care about the person. If the relationship is more important to you than that. If the person is more important to you than that. Or both. You can do both. You can do whatever you want. Anyway, birds before land show up, and let's say I want my guy to be 6'2", good looking, not overweight, not too skinny, maybe some muscle, maybe not, somewhere in between. He's a great cook. He's successful at work. These are some things that are on my list. Oh, my list is so long, you have no idea. But they're not needs, right? When we write these lists, they're not needs, they're preferences for our desire. And the desire is the desire. Don't let anyone tell you what you want or don't want. That's you. You make the decision. You have that desire. It's not even usually a decision. It's just a desire. It's there. Anyway, let's keep going. You want him to I want him to have a good voice. I want him to be successful, but have enough time for me. Things like that. So then I get a guy, Birds Before Land, who has his own company, super successful, super handsome. He shows up in my life, but these are actual guys that I have birds before landed. They landed before the land. So I wrote my list and these guys start showing up. So this one guy is super handsome, totally muscular, own company, works a lot, doesn't have a lot of time for me. And the conversation is me zoning out a lot. So that's not great. But he pursues me and all of that. So there are partial things from my list that he is displaying, and some others aren't quite right. And then the next person after him who shows up, he is not quite the way I like a guy to look, because I totally have a type, and my friends all know this. But I'm super attracted to him. Like when he touches me, he feels good. And I mean like normal touch, right? Kissing was great. Totally made out with that guy. He's super successful and works a lot, but he doesn't make time for me. So both of them had that in common. That was also part of working through I'm Worth It. So that was a theme. But texting was great. Conversations were amazing with him. But I wasn't physically too attracted. Like the one guy I was physically super attracted. The other guy, yes, but not as much as guy one, but with guy two. We had amazing conversation and other like good chemistry in different parts, right? So when you get this, it means you're on the right track. When you get partials and they're pushing out through multiple people instead of the one person you want, and yes, you can have exactly what you want. You also want to make sure to keep that and make sure your core beliefs are in check and start with I'm worth it, follow it with I am good enough and I'm worthy, or I am deserving. I'm worthy and I'm deserving are pretty much the same. So I'm worth it should be your number one concern, because it will bring up resistance and attachment. And your person might disappear once you manifest them. That happens very often, or relationship goes to crap and it's awful and shit like that, right? Anyway, so you get multiple people that push out certain characteristics that are on your list, certain things that you want, but it hasn't pushed out in one person. But this is still progress. This is actually big progress, because it means your focus is on the right track. So all you have to do at this point is keep focusing on what you want. Keep focusing on the end result of the person that you want and or the relationship that you want. Preferably both, right? But you want to make them separate manifestations. So it tends to be easier for the higher self, for the universe, for God, to deliver things that you make separate. Make all of your manifestations separate. Everything as a manifestation is a separate manifestation. So you want that healthy, loving, wonderful, awesome relationship is one manifestation, and you want that specific kind of person is another manifestation, right? But the universe will combine those for you. But if you start combining manifestations, it tends to be much harder. I have observed that. I have seen it in myself. Every time I start separating everything, every little thing as a separate manifestation, things show up like this, because then they're not reliant on one another anymore. They don't rely, hey, this has to happen, so then this can happen. That's a lot more complication, and the universe likes loopholes. But if you keep everything separate, such as the person and the relationship, then combining seems to be really easy. So don't care if there's a limiting belief. I don't care. It just is easier for me to manifest that way. And it works for my clients too. So when you see the birds before land, where these different characteristics actually start pushing out through different people might be frustrating a little bit. Maybe that's okay. Accept that. But it shows that your focus is on point. So you keep focusing. Imagine having these two paths that you go, right? And you keep going until eventually those two paths meet, and that's your manifestation up where they meet, right? Until then, it could be more paths. It could be 10 paths. Like, this person is successful. This person spends a lot of time with you but isn't successful. This person is really good looking but doesn't have good conversation. This person has really great conversations but isn't successful or good looking, right? So you get all these, possibly all these different persons, and eventually you keep focusing on that end result, and eventually they all kind of come together like this. And that's your manifestation. I hope this makes sense. But yeah, it's pretty much just birds before land, and birds before land means your focus is on point. And then you get more and more people. I'm not saying an amount, but the more and more you get closer to your manifestation, and you really can't tell where you are in your manifesting process, right? Because if you think you're in alignment, you are not. You are attached, because that just is an indication. But when you stop thinking about it, and then it usually shows up, it's because you detached enough and did enough resistance work that then you let it go. Letting go and detaching is the same for me. And it had room to actually come in. Like, your mind relaxed enough that it actually had time to come in. Until then, you keep focusing on the end result. Eventually, when you detach more and resolve more resistance, you actually automatically stop thinking about your manifestation so much. And that's okay. I have also seen it a lot where people stop thinking about the manifestation, but there's nothing happening for a long, long time, like months. Manifestations don't take that long when you're in alignment. It's pretty quick. And yes, there is a bridge of incense or orchestration, right? But honestly, the path towards it that takes the longest is the old energy. So first you do all the work, you do focus work, and then pretty quickly within maybe 1 to 3 weeks, you usually shift. So this is assuming that you're using the 4 steps that I teach, right? Focus, is it possible or not? Resistance, releasing, and detaching. So you do the 4 steps. And if you ask on this video how to do the 4 steps, book a session or find the video, please. I will not answer those questions. You do the 4 steps, and then eventually in a couple of weeks, you should be shifting into old energy. Old energy is usually the part that takes the longest. And an old energy is when you usually often get those birds before land that start pushing up through different people. And then the closer you get to alignment, it might be going from like 4 different people that push out all these different things to then 2 people. And then eventually it's that one person. And those 2 people right before alignment, they could be so close to it. Or you could get a person right before you aligned. You could get a person that has 95% of everything you want, or even 98%. You can, at some point in time, at any point in time, you can decide to keep any of those people, right? You can stay with them as long as you want. It's not going to ruin your manifestation. It is not. You can do whatever you want and still get what you want, honestly. It does help when you have your core beliefs in check. But, so you can date any one of them. It's not going to ruin your manifestation. I promise that. I've dated a lot and still got my manifestation. And then I've gotten people that were 98% of the specific person I was manifesting. And then eventually the person shows up, or they were a lot of what they were. The closer you get to alignment, the closer the people that show up in your life, that birds before land, are, the closer they are to being what you want or who you want. So it's always up to you to decide, do I keep that person or do I keep manifesting? Or you start dating them and realize, okay, I really like them. We could be together for a long time, but there's something missing. All of you know this feeling that it's almost right. And you can decide, I call it settling. My therapist friend calls it settling. If you have a desire, you know when you get it. You know when it's your manifestation. You just know. We all know. I can't tell you how, you just know. Everyone knows the knowing feeling. It's like your manifestation shows up and boom, that's it. That's how I do a lot of my things. I see something and I know that's exactly what I wanted. Same with men. I've met men where I knew the first time I meet them, he's the one. I've met a couple of them. And then I've had a couple where after a couple of weeks, I'm like, yes. When I get to know them, I'm like, yes, they're exactly what I want. But they probably were more like a birds before land. So they were like 90% of 99, 98%, I don't know, somewhere in the 90s probably of what I wanted. but I would have been okay with them. I didn't feel like I was going to settle with them. So you decide who you stay with, you decide what you do. It is your path. You choose. You have the power to choose. So when these birds before land show up, know that your focus work is right and that you are successfully working on resistance releasing and detaching. You're doing it right. That's your little indication as birds before land, not signs. Signs are things like 111, whatever meaning you give them, or when you manifest a specific person and you see their name everywhere or something that reminds you about them. Those are signs. Those also show that your focus is good, but birds before land are absolute evidence that you are doing it right, including focus, resistance work, and detachment. That's amazing. And yeah, maybe you're now currently attracting people, different people that have the different characteristics. So keep going, keep manifesting that end result, and eventually it'll work out. It does. We're meant to get what we want because that's how manifesting works. And the more your core beliefs are in positive positions, the easier it is to manifest things. Easier, faster, healthier, less anxiety, less depression, less bad thoughts. They're not all gone, but you just feel better and you're happier and life works out better and you manifest things better. So that's kind of important. That's why I do this. Again, I've manifested things without having good core beliefs, and I was a really great manifester, except things kept disappearing again. Things kept going bad. I just wasn't happy. It was just a combination of all kinds of weird things. And then manifesting stopped working for me, and a lot of my clients have this too. So I'm a big advocate for working on your core beliefs, and they just make everything easier. If you believe that you're worth it, number one belief, then you also automatically start working on I'm good enough and I'm deserving / worthy. And then all the other beliefs come up, such as I'm safe, I'm priority, I'm loved, I'm wanted, people are interested in me, I'm chosen, etc., etc. There's so many side beliefs that come with those three major core beliefs. Again, number one is I'm worth it, not I'm worthy. I'm worthy comes from I'm worth it, and I am good enough and I'm enough come from I'm worth it. So number one should be for you, if you find my channel, should be I am worth it, and the rest will actually change with it. Guess what? When you work on the I'm worth it core belief, the major, grand, great core belief, all the other beliefs change so much faster, and stories change faster, and you're happier. It took away my anxiety and depression. It was a hard belief to change. It took a while. It was so worth it. Anyway, I always talk about core beliefs, but birds before land, you get multiple people that show different characteristics. Keep focusing on the end result, and eventually they come together as one person. Ta-da! That's all I wanted to say. This video got a lot longer than I thought it would. Have a great day. Bye.